If there's one thing pretty much every human has in common, it is suffering. And the reason you're watching this video is because you suffer too, I'm sure. Well, most likely at least. And if that is the case, you are, without a doubt, whether you know it or not, looking for peace, searching for peace in yourself. And for the most part, people look for peace or happiness or fulfillment in objects, people, activities, substances, all sorts of things, objective experience. And so we think that by filling this void that we feel in ourselves with stuff, with things, with experiences, with more, with sensations, with states, with things to fill us up, that it'll somehow fill that inner cup. But it won't. Well, at least not for long, as I'm sure you've experienced. And so, in order to liberate yourself from this really frantic way of living, where you're perpetually seeking for something and not quite getting it, or at least if you are getting it, it's temporary. It is transient. It is like sand in your hand, right? And so, first and foremost, I want you to understand what peace is, because peace and happiness is what you're looking for. It is what everyone is looking for, essentially. If you were to ask someone, why are you getting with this person? It is because you're looking to be happy, to be at peace, right? If you're getting with someone and you're being told that you getting with this person, getting in a relationship with this person is going to make you miserable, you wouldn't want to be with that person. If you were told that the price that came with $1 million check would be that you're miserable, would you want it? Probably not. Because if you really investigate, that is the core human seeking. That is what all beings really live for, truly. Humans somehow seem to get it all wrong. And so, peace is inherent to what you are. And that's how, no, that sounds like abstract and mystical and, whoa, what the fuck's going on, right? Peace is what I am? What are you talking about, Mr. Bald Man? Well, peace is not exactly what you are. Peace is the absence of suffering, meaning that when there is no suffering present in your experience, the resulting state, if you will, is that of peace, fulfillment, contentment, happiness, right? If there is nothing to disturb the water will be at peace. Same with you, same with anyone. So, first you need to understand that. Because this is not about getting a state. It is not about getting to happiness or fulfillment or peace. You cannot get to that. It is the absence of suffering. It is the absence of looking for something, because the very seeking for something causes you to feel lack, causes you to feel that, well, I don't have that thing, right? I don't have that thing which I'm looking for, so obviously something is not good enough. I'm telling myself my experience is not good enough as it is, so I'm going on looking for that thing. All this to tell you that what you're looking for is already here, as you are. And again, it still sounds abstract. And I know it did for me for many years. And I will try my very best to elaborate, because I care about you, because I care about everyone listening here. And really the reason is I went through so much trouble myself. I've had a very difficult life in many ways. And yeah, it's not, this path is not something you willingly choose, I don't believe, most of the time. I think it chooses you, because at some point you're just so fed up with trying everything, literally trying every point of view, every experience, every possible thing you can imagine in this world. You've tried and tested it, and it failed you. You're here listening to this video because you're a failure like me. And the good thing about failing so much is that at some point you stop and pay attention instead to what is here. Because amidst all this failing and trying, all the tribulations of life, right, there is something here that we tend to overlook. And that quite simply is you. It's your being. It's nothing fancy, nothing special, nothing exotic, erotic, mystical, nothing. It's the fact of being aware. You're aware right now. It's not up for debates. If you are wanting to debate whether or not you're aware or conscious or, well, yeah, even to make that claim, the claim has to appear in something, and that something is you, awareness, right? And so that's the first part. You got to be aware that you're aware, which you are already, just by the fact of being. You are aware of the fact of being aware. It can be no other way, because right. And so pay attention to that. And by paying attention to that, I mean to not necessarily disregard the content of experience, but to just set it aside for a moment. You have so many, at least I assume, right? You may have so many thoughts and ideas, beliefs, and these mental attitudes and strategies and ways of perceiving the world, and you have this whole sensation going on of the body and a world being perceived, right? It's a lot of stuff. It looks like a million things going on in experience, and you can pinpoint each one. Whoa, there's so much. In truth, there's nothing here. Because that awareness which permits all experience, and of which all experience is in fact made, is all there is. It is the foundation, it is the substratum of all that is, because it is all that is. So why not pay attention to that? Why not, for just a few seconds, notice awareness. Be aware. You are aware. Notice the fact that you are. And it may not be immediate, and I don't want you to expect any such thing, because the very expectation for something will ruin it. It will absolutely ruin it. Because expectation is thought. So when you introduce a thought and you believe thought, there it goes. You're back in the loop. So no expectation. Just be intimate with your experience. The allowance of what is. Again, it sounds so mysterious. The allowance of all that is. Well, experience is, obviously, so it must be allowed. If something is, it is allowed. By definition. So you simply notice here. You're here. You notice. Aware. Present. Nice. Because peace is not a state to get to. Peace is not something you acquire. It is not an experience per se, even, because, as I told you before, peace is the absence of suffering. So when you, this is wrong terminology, when you return to your own being, let's say, when attention relaxes back into what you are, into the nature of your being, into the fact of being aware, attention is no longer reaching out, going for this and that, fixating on ideas and identifications, and as such, there is a natural relaxation of all that. And from the mind's point of view, because the mind is usually caught up in chaos and turmoil and this and that, right? The mind is so occupied with all sorts of things. The mind is a suffering machine, in a way. Not absolutely, but it is due to this incessant, ongoing activity that we feel that we suffer. At least the idea we have of ourselves seems to suffer. And so once all of that just trickles away by the fact of you noticing that you are, without investing yourself in all those ongoings, the underlying peace and presence will be apparent. It wasn't created or fabricated. It's not something you modulated your experience to make happen. No, it's just noticed. You notice it. It's here already all the time. And it seems to tell somebody that's in the midst of their greatest sorrow, there is peace and happiness underneath that. It seems so dismissive, but it really isn't. It's just how it is. But I want you to notice that, and to understand that it seems like it seems like peace and quiet joy from the mind's point of view, because the mind is used to chaos and suffering, right? So in comparison, this looks so much more peaceful, quiet, still, content. But from awareness's point of view, it was never involved in the drama of life. Awareness knows nothing about peace. Because to say that awareness knows peace means that awareness must know suffering. But that which is aware, you, is not suffering. Because if that were the case, you would have to always disentangle yourself in order to be free. And that might seem that way initially at a sort of preliminary stage of spiritual whatever this is, right? that it might seem you have to take some steps. You might have to unravel things. You might have to discover that I'm not this, I'm not that, and peer through those layers of perception. And that's reasonable. If you feel that you are at that stage and you need to do that, do it. Do it. I did it for over a decade. Not proud of it, but again, it served me well because I made every mistake and fuck up you could imagine, and that's why I'm able to sit here and relay it like it's whatever. So, but ultimately, awareness is neither suffering nor at peace, because those are polarities, and you as awareness, as what you are, is aware of both. So even at a greater, it's not even greater, it's just what you are. you can be aware of the stillness, the peace, the happiness, the bliss even. Even that is seen as content, as objective phenomena. You can see it, you can describe it. So obviously you are, at least in this model, prior to that, you are more than that. But that is all fine and well when you're on the meditation cushion, or just, you're able to shut the world out, so to speak. But what is peace really worth if you have to remove yourself from experience, from life, from all this? Because there is a lot of beauty in life, in fact, and the point is not to distance yourself from that, to go live in a mountain cave somewhere and pretend you're above it all. I mean, you can do that. It's cool. I think it's cool, but you don't have to. You can, in fact, be fully alive, well, engaged in this life, in with this human experience, and see that the entirety of experience takes place in you, takes place in awareness, and by the very fact that it takes place in awareness, you can glean and recognize for yourself, in fact, that this entire experience is made of awareness. Because if like, what else would be there? In order for something to appear, it must be appearing in something, in some substance, in a medium of sorts, right? And that medium is you. And so if you have something appearing in something greater, let's say this is the content, the smaller content of experience, and by content of experience I also mean the entirety of your human experience and everything that you perceive, right? Let's say this is it. And awareness is this metaphorical bubble, boundless bubble, infinite bubble around it. There's no boundary to it. Well, obviously this little contraction here is part of and made of this. It's not, you cannot have something finite within the infinite, let's say. The finite is an appearance of and a modulation of the infinite. I don't know, it doesn't make sense logically necessarily. It does to me, but it makes sense experientially, and I hope that you can see this, recognize this for yourself, because, my God, excuse me, to see that all of experience is in fact made of you means that the peace and whatever you were looking for is abundant. It's everywhere. It's what you are, because what you are pervades and makes up everything, right? And so it brings a quality of peace and beauty to life that cannot be explained. And I'm really doing my best here. Bear with me. But yeah, I hope this at least conveys what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you are that. You are that peace, that what you're looking for. And it's not somewhere far off. It is not on the other side of a decade of practice like myself, dumbass. Yeah, dear me. It is not on the other side of something. You don't have to cultivate anything. It might be beneficial to cultivate things and attitudes and practices, and I think it's valid. It's valid to if you feel the calling to do what you feel called to do. And if it's some spiritual practice, breathwork, meditation, inquiry, go on, just do it. But don't pretend that the practice will liberate you. The practice is more like a clarification or refinement of the mind, of the identification that you have held yourself to be. It doesn't touch upon the core of what you are. It doesn't touch upon that which you are, which you appear to be looking for, but you're really looking from. And so I think this is a good note to end this video on. I hope you enjoy it and enjoy your experience. Bring joy to your experience by embodying that joy throughout all experience. Take care. Bye.